I'm Emily Carter, and what kicked off with a simple envelope in my mailbox spiraled into me being led away in handcuffs. No exaggeration. One overlooked detail, the kind most folks brush off, unleashed a storm that almost stripped me of my home, my liberty, and my grip on reality. Lurking behind it all was a neighbor with a ledger and a hidden agenda. I figured HOA rules were just about keeping things tidy until I learned their darker potential. Has a tiny thing ever flipped your world upside down? Drop a comment with where you're tuning in from. 6 months after settling into my ideal home in Willow Creek, Arizona, the one I'd sketched out as an architect over endless nights, I spotted an official letter from the HOA amid the junk mail. I thought it was routine stuff, like a welcome packet or event notice. But no, it was a citation slamming my lawn for not meeting community guidelines. The document felt weighty, stamped with that authoritative vibe that screams trouble. I grabbed my tape measure, heart racing like I was defusing a bomb, because in this suburb, every inch could unravel years of hard work. 3.2 inches. The regs capped it at 3 inches max. We're talking a sliver thinner than a matchstick, something a breeze could sway. It wasn't silly. It felt targeted, like someone had staked out my yard with malicious intent. I eyed my healthy, green patch trimmed just like the others and wondered who could nitpick this into a crisis. It made me doubt the whole friendly neighborhood facade. Enter Helen Whitaker, 54, our HOA chair for a decade. She lived solo with 4 dogs in the grandest place on the cul-de-sac, always polished, peering from her bay window with eyes that missed nothing. Her property was flawless, no stray leaf, no uneven edge. Obsessive control personified. I dialed the HOA line, betting on a mix-up. Helen's voice sliced through. Standards are non-negotiable, mess. Carter. I heard the smug edge when I pleaded it was negligible and I'd fix it pronto. Expect your citation in 2 days. Welcome to accountability. She clicked off. I stood stunned. This wasn't neighborly. It was predatory. I mowed it to 2.9 inches, quadruple checking uniformity. Fixed, or so I thought. But hindsight's cruel. 2 days later, a bulkier envelope arrived. $250 fine for the original breach, plus $250 for aesthetic disturbance outside permitted times. I'd cut at 6:30 p.m. on a Wednesday. Now $500 in the red for grass that was now spot on. Photos attached like forensic shots, arrows jabbing at infractions. I remeasured obsessively, questioning my sanity. Then Arthur Hayes, my 68-year-old next-door vet, shuffled over, glancing warily. Built solid from his factory days, with kind eyes shadowed by concern, he slipped me a creased printout. Emily read this. Helen emailed the board 4 days back, pre-notice. It read, newcomer Emily Carter exhibits compliance risks. Initiate heightened surveillance for Stage 3 priority lots. Start logging violations now. Stage 3 priority lots. Chills hit. This wasn't about turf, it was personal. My dream house, saved for meticulously, now felt like bait in a trap. Sunset painted the street golden, highlighting flaws on other yards' weeds, crooked fences that went unchecked. Why me? Arthur invited me over post-dusk, blinds drawn like spies plotting. His den was a dossier hub, stacks of files, snaps, emails chronicling years of pursuit. Helen's ousted 7 households in 4 years, he murmured, fanning photos of happy families turned to for sale signs and vans. Same playbook, petty gripes ballooning to fines, harassment grinding them down, sales at rock bottom to Summit Properties, Inc. Homes worth $750,000 fetched $350,000 to $450,000 in desperation. Records showed Helen pocketing $60,000 advisory fees per deal via county leaks. Not ego profit. She'd raked in $420,000 ruining lives. Next dawn, another notice. Improper turf alteration for cutting too low, breaching an unlisted minimum. Aesthetic disruption. Trapped in shifting sands. I rang Sarah Kensington, Arthur's suggested property lawyer, mid-40s, razor-sharp, battle-hardened. They're crafting a violation chain, she explained. Impossible compliance loops. Skip payments. Force their overreach to unmask the scam. Maybe bolt then, cut losses. But Sarah's fire and Arthur's resolve ignited mine. As an architect, I documented fanatically, daily yard pics, Timestamps. Conditions. Folder swelled as notices poured in. Finds compounding. Each twisted prior ones into new traps. After dodging 5 citations, finds metastasizing. A summons hit for the HOA assembly. No invite demand, laced with threats. The Willow Creek hall morphed into a mock trial. Tables like a bench. Helen presiding with unfamiliar cronies. 24 residents averted eyes. Air thick with dread. Projector lit. Carter infraction analysis. Helen prosecuted with zeal. Slides distorting my yard into chaos via angled shots. Ignored bored home's blatant lapses. I rose to counter. She silenced me. Rattled off absurd charges. Height breach. Unauthorized trim. Visual chaos. Ignored directives. Then the hammer. Given MS. Carter's defiance. We invoke lien proceedings per clause 14.2. Air vanished. Foreclose over grass? I gasped. She shoved the covenant. Unpaid $6,000 plus triggers seizure. Fines at $5, 200 compounded interest, fees. Your turf's 3.1 inches now. Fresh violation. Reeling out, 3 neighbors cornered me covertly. A senior lady whispered. They broke us 3 years back. Legal fees drained us. Sold to flee. A dad urged. Fight. Don't let them cycle to us. Brave, but risky backlash loomed. A week post-meeting, drafting blueprints to distract, pounding shook my door. Cops with warrant. Emily Carter, arrested for stalking and menacing an official. Fabricated. Cuffed before gawking neighbors. Ride to lockup surreal. In the stale cell, details emerged. Helen alleged voicemail barges, threats. Logs faked calls from my line. Witnesses swore aggression. Car pics twisted from Arthur visits. Sarah bailed me after 20 hours. They leaned while you sat $15K now, citing your danger for urgent action. Breakdown hid hysterical laughs amid fury. Tactical. Isolate me during filing. Rock bottom in jumpsuit, doubting my fight. Pay early. Comply quietly. But surrender meant more prey. 30 days to hearing. Transformed dining into command center. Surveyed every lot. Measured, snapped inconsistencies. Board yard's worst offenders. Contacted ex-residents. Tales of terror uniform. Dug summit filings. P.O. box front, but founding docs named Helen as contact. Deeper. She owned it outright, plus shells like Willow Ridge Ventures, Sunset Estates. HOA weaponized to depress values, by cheap. Sarah. Game changer full-blown racket. Arthur's ace, 5 years covert tapes. One from years back. Helen plotting my acquisition pre-purchase. Carter lot prime for phase 4 corner appeal. Fabricate lawn faults. Proven winner. Word spread. Neighbors confided horrors in garage huddles. One revealed alternate buyer shells, all Helen linked. Scope. Multi-state fraud, millions stolen. Reporter from regional news called tracking HOA scams. Your proof could blow this wide. I agreed, risking spotlight. Hearing Eve, evidence towered. Diagrams debunking fakes. Surveys exposing bias. Records tying Helen. Tapes damning premeditation. Testimonies. Reporter's dossier on broader web. Courtroom packed, electric. Judge Margaret Thorne, fraudbuster, oversaw. Helen's counsel smugly paraded distortions. $15,000 owed, criminal menace. Sarah countered. Not violations, conspiracy, defrauding families statewide. Unveiled all. My blueprints proving manipulation, unequal enforcement, shell ownerships, victim stories, tapes echoing Helen's schemes, reporters $3 million plus fraud links. Gasps erupted, Thorne's fury palpable. No lien, fines voided. Whitaker ousted, probe launched federal 2. Helen crumpled, empire dust. For months on, she copped to felonies, fraud, racketeering. 5 years inside, $1.8 million repaid. Shells shuttered, homes restored. Willow Creek HOA reborn under Arthur. Support, not suppress. Arizona enacted HOA curbs oversight, limits, appeals. My saga sparked reform, empowering silenced voices. 10 months post-arrest for 0.2-inch grass. I lounge with it at 3.7 inches wild, free. Weeds weren't green, they were suited predators. Lesson, push back, voice trembling or not. What if HOAs had unchecked power fair or fascist? Would you fight a rigged system risking all, or fold for peace? Should neighbors police each other, or is that tyranny? Spill in comments your stories fuel change. Like if this hit home, subscribe for more real talk revelations. Catch you next.